10 of the craziest one-punch knockouts in MMA. I saw this on my freaking recommendations.
Out of all the ways to
Had
end
to
a
see.
fight, few are as thrilling as a knockout, and perhaps the most satisfying type of knockout is a one-punch KO. Now,
Right.
admittedly, there's some debate as to what constitutes a one-punch knockout. However, for this video, we'll be taking a look at finishes where one shot caused a fighter to go out, even if a few follow-up strikes
Dang.
were landed after the fact. Now, without further ado, and ranked in no particular
Bang.
order, these are some of the craziest
Dang.
one-punch KOs in MMA history. Number 10, Anthony Pettis versus Stephen Thompson. Kicking things off is one.
Hold up, before we start, I don't think knocking somebody out is as impressive as like wailing on them, if that makes sense. Like, I think it's more impressive if you like put in like a bunch of combos, a bunch of like Mortal Kombat stuff on them, and like have them kneel to you. I think isn't that better? Don't you want them to kneel to you? A one punch knockout, like knockouts, I don't know. Like, it's not the person giving up. It's just them. It's just their brain hitting their cranium. I'm gonna act like I know what I'm saying, but I think that is what happens. Your brain hits the side of your head, right? And you knock out, right? Isn't that what happens? I think that's what happens. That's just less impressive because like it's not your fault, you know? Like a liver shot, that's not your fault either. That's not you giving up. That's literally your body's response to it. It's just a reflex. It's not you giving up. So I feel like I don't know.
Ranked in no particular order, these are some of the craziest one-punch KOs in MMA history. Number 10, Anthony Pettis versus
My
Stephen
bad, my
Thompson.
alarm.
Kicking things off is one of the most unlikely knockouts on our list. If you know anything about Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, you'll know that he is without question one of the greatest strikers in UFC history.
Dang.
Now, to his credit, the same could also be said about his 2019 opponent, Anthony Pettis. But when they met inside the cage, it was pretty clear who the more seasoned striker was. Thompson was having his way with Pettis for the majority of the bout, using his pinpoint accuracy to control the pace of the fight. But then, out of nowhere, Showtime managed to produce one of the most iconic moments of his career, leaping forward with a well-timed Superman punch, catching Thompson right on the chin.
Look at the ref. Look at the ref. Look.
Before anyone knew what had happened, Wonderboy was out cold, and Anthony Pettis had picked up a remarkable comeback victory. A massive win for his already great legacy. Number 9, Sean O'Malley versus Eddie Wineland. As one of the fastest growing stars in MMA today, Sugar Sean O'Malley has earned a reputation as an exciting knockout artist. Of his 15 wins, 11 of those have come by either KO or TKO, giving him a 73% knockout rate. Of course, one of his most impressive finishes came in June of 2020, when he faced off against Eddie Wineland at UFC 250. During the opening minutes of round 1, O'Malley landed a beautiful straight right hand that caught his opponent on the chin.
In and out, he does a fence.
Wait. We're talking about the top 10 of the craziest one-punch knockouts in MMA. But you're talking about stuff in 2020? I don't know, bro. We'll see. I don't know. That was just all right.
The shot immediately put Eddie Wineland to sleep and was named one of the best knockouts of the year. As far as spectacular finishes go, they don't come much better than this. Number 8, Rich Franklin versus Nate Quarry. On the long list of one-punch KOs that really stiffen their target, Rich Franklin's stunning knockout of Nate Quarry is easily one of the best. Franklin is definitely one of the most underrated fighters of his era, and during his title bout with Nate Quarry, it was clear that he had the technical advantage. Once he figured out his opponent's timing, he slid in with a picture-perfect left hook, landing right on his opponent's chin.
Again, on the bike.
And the way that Nate hit the floor just made this one all the more special. Rich Franklin was never really known for putting people to sleep, but this finish was truly a sight to behold. Number 7, Anthony Johnson versus Glover Teixeira. Anthony Rumble Johnson is arguably the second hardest hitter in UFC history, right behind Francis Ngannou. Watching him go from an oversized welterweight to a powerhouse at light heavyweight was a pretty surreal experience. Sadly, Johnson never managed to win UFC gold, and persistent issues with making weight have somewhat detracted from his legacy. But in his best moments, he was an incredible fighter to watch. And no one had the misfortune of understanding that better than the future champion Glover Teixeira. During their UFC 202 matchup, the fight barely had a chance to get going before Rumble landed a massive uppercut that put Glover to sleep.
Put pressure on him right away. Interesting.
13 seconds was all it took, and at the time, many thought that this signified the end of Glover Teixeira's time at the top of the sport. Sure, he eventually proved the doubters wrong, but his loss to Johnson was definitely
MMA
one
is
for the
just too
highlight
crazy,
reels.
bro.
Number
That's why I
6,
like
Cody
boxing more.
Garbrandt versus Rafael Assunção.
There's, like, more
He might
rules.
leave a lot to be desired in the fight IQ department, but on his best days, Cody Garbrandt has shown himself to be a killer in the cage. And few fighters have experienced that quite like Rafael Assunção, who took on Cody Garbrandt in June of 2020. Sure, he later proved himself to be just as wild as ever, but in this fight, Garbrandt looked extremely on point. And in the closing seconds of a dominant round 2, Cody landed a massive right hook that immediately put his opponent out cold. The exact time it landed is recorded at 4 minutes and 59 seconds, beating the bell by a fraction of a second. A fantastic return to form for a struggling fighter who still has the potential to produce exciting moments like this. Number 5, Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal. Kamaru Usman had his work cut out for him heading into UFC 261, wanting to convince the masses of his growing talents. And after beating Jorge Masvidal the first time around with a somewhat lackluster decision, Usman felt like he had something to prove heading into their second meeting. But with a full camp of preparation under his belt, Usman was ready to shock the world and show his improved striking. After an opening round that saw Gamebred look pretty decent in some spots, Kamaru Usman turned up the heat in the second, landing a massive right hand that knocked Masvidal completely out cold.
See, I can never respect boxing. MMA for that. Like, look.
Kamaru Usman turned up the heat in the second, landing a massive right hand.
He's down on the ground. That's it, bro.
Masvidal completely out cold.
But in MMA, it's different. You're taught to just hammer them until the referee, comes in. I don't like that. Like, look, he's done, bro. It's messed up. Because you can really, ruin somebody's life with that, bro.
Sure, the Nigerian Nightmare may have connected with a few follow-up shots, but it was clear that Masvidal was out well before those landed. Number 4, Rashad Evans versus Chuck Liddell. By the time Chuck Liddell took on Rashad Evans in a title eliminator bout, it was obvious that the Iceman was not the same fighter he once was, especially when compared to his reign as champion. But when he faced off against the rising prospect in 2008, he suffered one of the most brutal knockout losses of his career. During the second round, Rashad Evans allowed Liddell to pressure him up against the cage, and when the Iceman attempted to catch him with an uppercut, he anticipated it, returning fire with an overhand right that sent Liddell crashing to the mat.
Dang.
Big uppercut. He's down. Rashad Evans.
This one wasn't easy to watch if you were a fan of this Octagon legend, but we still have to give Rashad his dues, and this was one mean-looking finish. Number 3, Dan Henderson versus Michael Bisping. A fierce rivalry can do a lot to a fighter's desire to achieve victory, and for Dan Henderson, listening to Michael Bisping's constant verbal jabs during an entire season of The Ultimate Fighter was enough to leave him determined to put a beating on the count. The two squared off at UFC 100, and this record-setting event proved to be the perfect stage for this one-hitter quitter, or at least it would have been a one-hitter quitter if Hendo didn't decide to follow up his massive H-bomb with a flying forearm to Bisping's face.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Of course, during the post-fight interview, Henderson admitted that the second shot was more for his own revenge than anything else. To date, it is one of the most famous knockouts in UFC history, and a testament to Henderson's incredible power. Number 2, Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo. It's pretty hard to believe that we have two 13-second knockouts on one list, but just 8 UFC events before Rumble Johnson would flatline Glover Teixeira, we played witness to perhaps the most shocking title victory in UFC history.
The number 1 knockout is gonna be the flying knee kick. How much you wanna bet?
Sure,
How much you wanna
Conor
bet? It's gonna be
McGregor
the
was
flying
given a
knee
pretty
kick.
solid chance at dethroning the longtime featherweight king Jose Aldo, but to go out there and land a perfect counter in the opening seconds
you know, you
against
know.
someone who hadn't lost
my
in
God.
nearly a decade, that's quite a remarkable achievement.
Conor relaxed and smiling. Oh no! He slapped him!
The punch landed at around the 10 or 11 second mark, and by the time the referee had realized what had happened, Conor McGregor had landed a few hammer fists for good measure. A star-making moment for someone
hammer
who was
fists are
already
so
the biggest
lame, bro.
attraction in the sport. Number 1, Francis
Wait,
Ngannou
what?
versus Alistair Overeem. And finally, we come to the one-punch knockout that stands at the top of this list. Francis Ngannou is probably
list
the
is
most
trash,
powerful
then.
man walking the planet today. And though we were all aware of his potential during his early UFC run,
I'm
it
gonna
was
show
his
y'all what I was
showdown
talking
against
about.
Overeem that really set the hype train in motion. Overeem was expected to serve as a fitting challenge, a veteran striker whose offensive skills would likely expose some chinks in Ngannou's armor. Of course, when the two squared off, the Reem had absolutely nothing for Ngannou, and after a wild exchange, Francis fired off the most perfect uppercut you'll ever see, sending Overeem to the ground before then following up with a huge shot from the top.
To try to get a matchup with Ngannou.
This was the KO that put Ngannou's name on the map and made all of us question how anyone in the division could ever stand up to that type of power. Sure, Stipe Miocic would find a way to work around that at UFC 220, but as Francis improved, that window of opportunity began to close at a rapid pace. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure
nah. He missed this one. I forgot what the person's name was. Look. It's about to be the first one, watch. Yeah, this one. Fastest knockout in UFC history, 3 seconds. Look at this.
Jason Herzog back in there for this one.
Now tell me why this wasn't on the list.
Ariane Celeste is here. Brittany.
Hold on a second. Ring girl. I know we just met, but I gotta get this off my chest. You're looking good, real good. And I can't explain it, but I want you in my life. How you doing? You're beautiful. I like your little Powerade bra you got on. Where you get that from? Hot Topic? I'm just trying to get yeah, you look amazing. I've been waiting for you. I haven't loved you for 1,000 years. I just met you. But we can make it 1,000. Or at least a couple seconds. Alright, enough of that. Yeah, she bad. If I'm ever in MMA or boxing, I am going to smash every ring girl ever. Like, how do you not do that? Unless, like, is it illegal? Oh, I think it's illegal. I don't think you can do that. Hold on, let me look it up. Is it illegal to what? Have a relationship with the ring girl as a boxer? UFC ring girls have a love-hate relationship with fighters. On one hand, ring girls work for the UFC, same as any fighter. As a result, many ring girls befriend fighters and sometimes they'll even date fighters. However, some fighters are critical of ring girls. Why? 8 intriguing facts about ring girls. Hold on. This is a tangent, but I'm curious. I gotta know for the future. In case I'm ever in the MMA or anything like that, bro. Bro, can you get off my screen? I'm not taking ad block off. Move! Dang! I'm not taking ad block off. Thank you. Being ringside may be a great view for fans, but UFC ring girls always sit very close to the cage. As a result, it's not uncommon for blood and sweat to get on them. On top of that, because of one of their jobs is to look beautiful, many fans send unwanted advances their way. Dang. Okay. They use the UFC to get other gigs. Like what? The UFC isn't the most popular sport in the world, but some ring girls have managed to use their time with the organization as a launchpad for better paying jobs. The more popular girls have posed for Playboy, and some have even landed reality show gigs. Oh, okay. UFC ring girls can fight. Can they? Like many who work in the UFC, many ring girls are also a big fan of the MMA, okay? Some ring girls, like Brittany Palmer, train in MMA. They may not be world class athletes who can compete inside the cage, but they certainly know how to fight. All right, they're fitness junkies. I can see that. I can see that. ah, ah, I can definitely see that. And I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Like UFC fighters, a ring girl's body is their main medium for their job. If a UFC fighter doesn't train properly, then they can't do their job properly. It's the same for ring girls. Because of this, they take their diet and fitness seriously. They may not be the most shredded women in the world, but they don't slack off at the gym. I don't shredded women aren't very like you don't want a shredded woman. Like shredded women look weird. I don't know. Like this is like you want like a normal body fat percentage for a woman, which is like what, like 20%, 25%, because they have higher body fat than guys do. That's Brittany Palmer. She alright. She ain't got nothing on her though. She ain't got nothing on her. Ring girls don't make Conor McGregor levels of money, but they actually get paid better than most new UFC fighters. A ring girl can make anywhere from $30,000 to $75,000 a year, according to the Things for Reference. Nate Diaz made $12,000 to show up and fight Michael Johnson. 12,000. 12,000. Nate Diaz. Maybe he wasn't that famous at the time. Like, I don't know. It kind of seemed like robbery. 12,000 is crazy compared to what they be paying for boxers. Nah, that's crazy. They practice their job. No, but 30,000 to 75,000 for literally just like working out at home and holding up a sign and looking pretty and standing there. Like that's not too bad. I mean, occasionally you get like the weirdos who want your number and stuff like that, but like that comes with the job, you know? And that just comes with being a woman, to be honest. If you look good and you're a woman, automatically it's GG. Um They practice their job. Being a ring girl may seem easy as most of the work is standing or sitting around and walking around with a place card, with a placard. However, it only seems easy because they make it look easy. They get a lot of practice in before the show starts. You didn't explain. Like they literally just walk around. Like what practice are they doing? 10 minutes of practice? What you mean practice? UFC ring girls have a love-hate relationship with fighters. On one hand, ring girls work for the UFC. Oh wait, I saw that one. I saw that one. UFC ring girls do fight. Yeah, we saw that. Dang, she bad. Okay, next. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, but like, if I was a fighter, bro, like, if I won a fight and like, like when they're standing there at the end in like the middle of the octagon or whatever, there is zero way. There is absolutely no way I'm not hitting on them. Like, after I just want to fight, bro, I just want to fight. I'm feeling alive. I feel good. And this good looking girl is standing next to me. You telling me I'm not supposed to say anything? Like, I'm saying something right there. I might do it on national TV. I don't care. Either way, I'm getting her number, or I'm at least try to get her number. You crazy? No, you gotta be crazy. Like, this is just literally like, if you're a fighter, this is literally just free. Oh, but she probably get ran through. Nah, she probably does though.
Celeste is here. Brittany Palmer, Brooklyn Wren also
Yeah, she's
on
pretty.
hand. Game Bread is in the building. And these guys just flapping gums at each other. Any chance they get.
Fight. 16 seconds, right? Reminder, I'm gonna remind you, this dude did not put this in the top 10. He didn't put it in the top 10. We're at 16 seconds, right?
The fight clock is brought to you by Modelo.
3 seconds. This isn't clickbait, bro. It took 3 seconds. 3-second knockout, and he didn't put in the list. Come on, bro. This has got to be the most famous. Ben Askren, you're trash, bro. Lost to Jake Paul too. Like, bro, just give it up at this point.